Military forces launched missile strikes in Poltava, east-central Ukraine on Tuesday, killing dozens and injuring hundreds, according to government officials.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reported receiving a preliminary report indicating that 2 ballistic missiles had struck the area.
Cathay Pacific Airways in Hong Kong canceled 32 flights to and from various regional destinations a day after grounding its entire fleet of 48 Airbus A350s due to a failure in a Rolls-Royce engine part during a flight to Zurich. An increase in mosquito-borne diseases, including West Nile virus and Eastern equine encephalitis, has been reported in the U.S., raising concerns about where these illnesses are being detected.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guests and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Yeah, we forgot to put
My dog is your mind's best friend.
What are we gonna do?
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
You think I didn't say anything, or you think I said something and you couldn't hear it? Doesn't really matter. I would like, at this point, to be able to say good morning, folks, and welcome to whatever this is. But it's not a good morning. It's a very terrible morning. You will note it is September 5th. It's Thursday, September 5th, 2024, by the way. A terrible morning. You'll note that in the News in 60, they talk about a lot of things, but they didn't talk about a school shooting in Georgia yesterday where 4 kids ended up dead. And it's become so often now that it's not even the top story. It's not even in the news. It's not even in the news. Never mind top story. We are conditioned now. Oh, just another school shooting. And I want to know what the hell is it going to take to do anything about it. Now, we go back and forth with the thoughts and prayers. You're not taking my guns. It's not the gun. What is it? I think you will admit that even though it might not be the gun on its own, it's the person holding the gun, and it's always the same kind of gun. In this case, an AR-15 style rifle. It's what they say. That's what they say all the time. AR-15 style rifle. If you really, really care about your guns, gun fetishists, you love your guns, and you don't want people taking your guns away, it's up to you to come up with a real workable solution to stop this shit, because it happens too much, too often, to the point where we don't even mention it in the news anymore. 4 kids get killed on their first day in school and it's no fucking big deal. Yeah, good morning. If you're not sick of this happening yet, you are not a good person. Let me just tell you that. And what can we do to address it? Do you have any solutions? Well, we could do lots of things to stop these guns. We could ban those guns altogether. Oh, you're not taking my guns. Well, what do you got? Thoughts and prayers are not working. What do you fucking got? Because 4 more kids are dead now. Their parents' lives have been ruined. Their families have been ruined forever. Kids who go to school there are now traumatized for the rest of their ride on this crazy planet. They have to carry that baggage with them. And you're just going to go, well, thoughts and prayers. I'll just move on. I won't even mention it in the news. This is where we've arrived at on planet E. I don't know. I can't say good morning. It's a shitty morning. It's a shitty morning. 4 kids are dead. 4 families have to bury their kids for going to school. And all we hear is thoughts and prayers. It's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible. Not even terrible anymore. It's not even. Let's talk about a shooting on a Chicago subway where 3 people died. Let's talk about Russia. You want to talk about Russia, and the fact that right-wing influencers were paid big money by RT, Russia state-owned television, to try to influence the American election, that we're in our current election cycle, our attitudes towards all the issues, and to get us to hate each other. That was the goal. And people like Tim Pool and Benny Johnson and Dave Rubin and others got rich off it. And they were claiming, well, this is the spies, the people who are working for Russia, the state of Russia, and Russian television, laundering money. They were indicted weeks ago in a sealed indictment. It just got unsealed yesterday. And all these names of these high-profile right-wing influencers, broadcasters, were on it. And their main concern, the right-wing influencers, is that the document got leaked. Well, it didn't get leaked. DOJ unsealed it. And because journalism is not completely dead, people read the indictment and saw the names on it that have been paid big money. And then, so they're denying that they were doing the bidding of Russia. I just want to play a little clip from Tim Pool. You let me know. Tim Pool made $10 million in a year off of Russian television. I want to play you a clip, and you tell me, does it sound like he's a guy who's working for Russia?
And they know it. But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They are expanding this war. Now, don't get me wrong. I know you've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do. Ukraine is now accused, a German warrant issued for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, triggering this conflict. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world. We should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support, and we should apologize to Russia.
Yeah, let's apologize to Russia for invading an ally. They are not. Ukraine is not a threat to the United States of America. They're not an enemy of the United States of America. That is somebody who is getting paid by Russia to do Russia's bidding in the United States of America. What we used to call that treason. We certainly call that being a traitor. He's taking money to sell out America for Russia. Russia is our enemy. Make no doubt about that. Russia is an enemy of the United States of America. So this is where we're at. We are at the place where they're going to try and gaslight you again. Oh, it's all a Russian hoax. It's all a Russian hoax. No, it's not a Russian hoax. It's Russia funding top right-wing influencers to turn Americans against America. That's what you got. This is your Trump party. This is the party you've endorsed, joined the cult for, and will believe anything they say. Well, you know what? At some point, the chickens do come home to roost, and it's time. It's time for these chickens to come home and roost. We have comedians today. Scott Zank and a guy named Sharif Tahar, I think. Again, they're trying to make things difficult for me. By parents, stop naming your kids things that, because you know they're going to grow up and want to come on a program. Just name them Joe Smith. Name all your kids Joe Smith, please. Make it easy. Well, Sharif, don't like it. He's rocking the Casbah. He's a drummer and a comedian, which is kind of a challenge, to be honest with you, because most drummers, let's face it, they can't even count to 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and they're all 3. That's as high as they get. Steven's not with us today. He's teaching 6th graders, or as I like to call them, drummers. So we have those other 2 guys, and we'll meet them. Well, we'll say hello to them. We don't have to meet them. We've already met them. Nobody likes them. They don't even like each other. They don't like themselves. I don't know. Anyway, we'll try to make it a happier day. But I'm in a ugly Thursday mood. Let's hear about Daily High Club and maybe get happy.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Excuse me, I am so terribly sorry. What is this? Ron Kane has gone to black? Why is Ron Kane black? He's black. It's usually GD is the black guy here. I don't know what happened. I could see Ron Kane down there. I see his image, but when we add him here, let's see here. No, he's black. He's black. He wants to be black. He's black. So it's just me and GD for now until we figure out what the hell's wrong with Ron's camera. We saw him there. Anyway, my best friend of the last 37 and a half seconds, I guess, Mr. J.K. Rowling. J.K.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Are you having trouble sleeping? Tune in to MindDog TV and you'll be sleeping.
What? You forgot.
MindDogTV.com.
Oh.
Support your local mercenaries.
I didn't get it. Now I get it. I'm a little slow on the uptake here. Yeah, good morning. Now, see, I'm writing things again that I didn't know. Elevator, I can hardly lift her. What is that? Elevator, I can hardly lift her.
Who wrote it?
I did not write that. I have no memory of writing that. Maybe. Tell me something to get me off this school shooting stuff.
Well, if it'll help you, if it makes you feel any better, it was only 2 kids that got killed and 2 teachers, not 4 kids, unless they updated it this morning.
Wow. So the 2 kids came back to life?
It's 2 kids and 2 teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 kids.
So that hopefully that makes you feel better.
Oh, I heard 4 dead, and I just assumed they were all kids. All right. Well,
Now,
I don't
and
know if
9
that
injured.
makes. Listen, I'm not sure that makes me feel any better. Of course,
Okay,
adults.
okay. If that
Adults.
doesn't work, how about this? The Russians are in the Tim pool, but they've already peed in the pool. How's that? Does that make you feel better?
No. See, I want Russia out of our. See, no, I don't want to go to war with Russia. I don't want to go to war, but they got to stop this shit, trying to fuck with our elections over and over again, constantly, and trying not just fuck with the elections, but they're trying to make, and they've succeeded at breaking up families, making families hate each other over their chosen cult delegate.
Okay, if it makes you feel any better, Liz Cheney has decided to vote for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, but
another but. Okay, you know something? Fuck it. I am tired of trying to cheer you up. Ron, it's your turn. I tried. Fuck it.
I like.
No, fuck it.
You know what?
I can't
Let me
cheer
just
you
say
up.
something.
Ron, it's on you. Ron, it's on you.
All right. All right. I just want to say about Liz Cheney. I applaud her for having the courage to stand up and put country over party, and that's the last place I would ever imagine that coming from is the Cheney family. I know she's still completely committed to Republican platform issues and things like that, but I do think it's very courageous because she ended her political career, and just like Adam Kinzinger, basically it's unusual, so good for her. But people on the left still hate her, and they don't want her endorsement. They don't want her even one vote. Like, fuck you. It's just vengeance. It's bitterness. It's like, oh, you used to be against us. And I think probably still against the issues and platform that the Democratic Party wants to put forward. But the one thing that they will agree on is that Donald Trump is not. He's not a good guy.
Okay, this is my last attempt to cheer you up.
I'm cheered. Look how happy I am. Huh?
Have you noticed that the one that what's his face? The guy, the missing guy, Stevie. When he recommends a comedian for the show, the comedian shows up, and then Stevie mysteriously has to go substitute. Like, really? I think he just can't look him in the eyes anymore. I think something happened when they were on the road, and he can't look him in the eye anymore.
Well, I have to say that definitely cheered me up. The fact that thinking that Stephen got raped by Scott Thanks.
I didn't say that. I said something happened. For all we know, they could have like double banged a midget or something.
No, let's go with the
They could have Eiffel Towered a Dalmatian. Something really shameful. I didn't say Stephen was raped.
Rape is such a strong word. More made love to.
Was sexually assaulted. We could say sexually assault. No, he got raped. That's fine. He's a big boy. He can take it.
Well, maybe he can't. We don't know. He may be big in heart, but small in whole. We don't know.
Steven said, "Now we have Scott waiting in the back, in Steven's back end." But Steven's texting me that Scott doesn't have a link. Now, here's the thing with the Calendly thing. I don't think people are checking this. When they sign up for the show, there's a notes thing, and when I schedule a show, I put the links in the notes. I'm not sure that Calendly necessarily is forwarding it, or maybe it's going to junk folders. But a big part of this problem with the no-shows is people are not getting the links. Now, Scott DM me on Facebook as the show was starting, and I sent it to him, so he was able to get here. Steven thinks he's not here, so Steven might actually come out of this lie that he told that he's substitute teaching somehow. Like, who would hire Steven to teach their kids? Really? I mean, have they listened to the show? Do you want that guy? Do you want that pervert, porn-watching, I don't know, Shavola fighting, wheelchair boy teaching your kids? Is that what you want? Your sixth grade kids? I don't know, not 6-year-olds. What are you? 11 years old in sixth grade.
Sixth generation anarchist. He's
libertarian / anarchist, whatever he is. You don't want him teaching your kids. Now. He must have a master's degree, right? At least a master's degree and a teaching certificate in order to be able to substitute teach. Yes?
No, in Indiana, as long as you know
as long as you got one,
as
two
long
teeth.
as you know 22 of the 26 letters of the alphabet, you're okay.
I thought you were gonna say as long as you have 2 or 3 teeth, you're
no, you're thinking Kentucky.
All right. Yeah. So, but any thoughts on this Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, who's the other guy? Benny Johnson.
How much is that? That $10 million is over how long of a period of time? Is that like a year?
No, not even.
I'm thinking of selling out my country. I'm just wondering what.
No, I said that on Twitter last night. Like, I've reassessed my values. I just want enough views that Russia will make me an offer. Any offer. I mean, I just want to hear an offer. I'm not certain I will take it, but come on. I how many views do I need every day for Russia to come to me and say ugly shit about Ukraine? What do you think? There's a number of views that is necessary. Like is it 2 million a day? What is it?
Yeah, it's got to be consistent.
I'm sorry, Ron. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it needs to be consistent, like 1 million or 2 a day.
I'm not going to get there.
I think that we can get there if we bring in our guest Scott Zank, and then I think we'll watch our numbers jump to 1 million almost within like 30 seconds of him being on the air.
All right, I'm looking at the radio thing right now. It's not looking good. But let me just tell the people on the radio. Maybe go tell your friends that Scott Zank is coming on in about 30 seconds, and maybe those numbers will jump up. Radio listenership. Maybe it's because it's the first week back to school and people are driving their kids to school and don't want to
tune in. They're afraid to tune in because
of you and your foul language and you're talking about Stephen getting raped and stuff. They don't
see. I did not say that. I said something happened. I didn't say rape. You said rape.
All right. You're right. You're right about that. But what were you thinking happened? Rape.
No, I was thinking perhaps they, like I said, maybe they headbutted a goat, together. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what it takes to shame Stevie. Okay, because Stevie may not be ashamed by rape.
That's true. That's
it. So, but whatever it is, they can't look each other in the eye. That's what I'm saying.
No, I guess you're right. It's so Stephen welcomed Scott Zank's penis in his anus. And then when it was over, he had the walk of shame on, or the sit of shame, or the roll of shame.
I thought you said the shit of shame. You said sit of shame.
Just shoot me. Just shoot me. Just get me off. Anyway, so I'm thinking that's why the listenership in the car is down, because people are driving their kids to school. And if you're driving your kids to school in this day and age, good luck. God bless. I don't know what to say. Anyway, Scott,
you supposed to with the hopes and prayers, wishes and thoughts.
Yeah.
Unicorns and butterflies.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Well, we can talk about that with Scott if he wants. We'll see what Scott wants to talk about. Anyway, Scott Zank has been hosting comedy shows from Minnesota to Michigan for over 7 years. He has a quality team that works hard to put on quality shows that will not only leave a lasting impression, but also make you not be able to look him in the eye.
The next day.
He's here now. Good morning, Scott. Welcome.
Good morning.
Yeah. How are you? I said yesterday that you seem dangerous in a good way. I mean that good in a good way. From a comedy perspective, you seem to have that energy of bad boy comedy that I welcome on this program, but it seems like it's a kind of a throwback to people like. Don't get offended by this if you do. John Belushi, who's that? Chris Farley. I mean, not that you're a fat guy. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that the energy. I'm just saying the energy of bad guy.
No, I love being offensive. I made a white girl cry last week, so I'm very much for it.
What's her
What
name?
you do?
Steven?
What you do? Tell her you're her father. What did you do?
I tried wingmanning Steven. That's what happened. I was trying to get married, and well, she had to be
I
consoled.
even mentioned Jack Black, but it seems like all these guys, and this is why I'm saying I'm not saying you're fat, because all these guys I'm mentioning, these bad boys of comedy, all have a little bit of a heftiness to them.
See, it's
So
working. We got another viewer already. It's working.
yeah, I was watching this in school with 6-year-olds, sixth graders. I mean, not 6-year-olds. I keep
It's
Some
probably
children. It's still weird. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
yeah.
It was kind of
it's,
cool. It was like, here's a picture of random kids.
So
well, it's probably part of the curriculum. He's probably like, today's lesson is we're watching Coffee with the Dog for current events.
right.
Yeah.
But it's a Lutheran school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Well, at
not
least
sure.
the kids are Lutheran. It could be a Catholic school with Lutheran students. I don't
All right,
know.
all right. I'm just thinking that
diversity
this might not be okay with the teachers and school board and all that kind of stuff. That this kind of content, especially with you with your potty mouth. But all right, Scott, tell us about. You've been producing shows. How long have you been actually doing stand up?
Almost about a little over 7 years. I started hosting our own shows right off the bat. There was no shows around me, so we just made our own.
Originally from the Midwest. I mean, are you an Indiana guy, or how do you know Steven? You're a Michigan guy, or you're a Minnesota guy?
You know,
Where the
we met on Grinder, but no,
Rubber-
no. I just met him online. He reached out to get on a contest that we were throwing. But I'm from Muskegon originally, and then I moved out to Duluth, Minnesota, and that's where I started doing comedy at.
Wow.
They made it.
You're a road dog. Do you get on? Have you like GD is one of his goals is to perform in all 50 states. I think he's like up to 45, 49, something like that.
Oh God, no! I'm at 17.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Say close enough.
Yeah, I road dogged hard, but then like I drove from Duluth to Nashville in one night for a 7-minute free spot, and then when I was driving home and I hit the toll road in Illinois, and I turned off my music, and then I drove all the way through Illinois with no music, just sad as fuck. So I was like, I need to make some changes to my road dog style. So now I'm involved and stuff like that. But yeah, Colorado, I'm going the end of the month. I want to get the hell out of Muskegon.
Wow. So it ends up. It looks like Ron is frozen. Hello, Ron. Can you see how many fingers am I holding up?
I think that's a poster picture because he
that's why he's
blinked. He has not blinked in like 12 minutes.
All right, so yeah, he's not even in the shot. He went to I don't know, play with his feet and his cat or something. So actually, these gigs cost you money because you're talking about a lot of gas to drive from all the way up there to Nashville and back, or Colorado and back. It ends up being quite an investment. I mean, you got to love the art and craft to be that dedicated to do that, and I appreciate that. That's if you're doing that, but it's got to be really frustrating, no?
So it was. Right before COVID, I got a little bit more picky. I was like, I have like a $20 rule now where I can't lose any more than $20. So that's gotten but yeah, so now generally about break even, but Colorado I'm gonna lose my ass on, but that's just gonna be fun. So worth it on that end.
I'm gonna guess that you're not like a guy who works like really clean. You work a little blow, right?
Oh yeah, I prefer blue. So I do. I had a really bad set one night, where I walked the entire audience. So I rewrote all my jokes with a halfway clean version. So now I can work clean if I need to, but I prefer bukkake and bullshit.
Wait, they bukkake and bullshit. I like it. They walked out because it was too dirty. Because I've seen people walk out because of politics. I've seen it, or religion or whatever, but I've never seen people actually walk from it being too dirty.
It was at
was this a church or something?
Casino. It was all blue-haired old ladies. They were not prepared for me. I wasn't prepared for them, but all 90-year-old ladies at a casino in Wisconsin.
You are my hero. I just my respect meter just went like through the roof for you. Because but except that the next day you kind of cleaned it up a little bit. But I would have doubled that. Me, I would get really annoyed by that and just say, if you're gonna fucking walk out on me, you old fucking skank cunts, and then it would just escalate from there. But
go ahead.
I'll just say myself and another guy. We went to a showcase, or actually it was an open mic in DC. This is like 7 or 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. And I called ahead. Let me just look. I'm driving 2.5 hours for this, so I need to know that I'm going to be going up, and I need to know how many minutes I'm going to get. And they said, no sweat, you're good. We heard about, you're friends of ours, blah, blah, blah. And I get there, and me and this other guy, we get there, we sign up, and they said, you two are going up last, and you're getting like 2 minutes each. And I'd driven like 2.5. And I got on the phone immediately and called my wife because I was ticked. And she was, what are you going to do? I said, I drove 2.5 miles. I'm going to go up. And then they said, oh, yeah. And then you can't cuss because there's a group from a church, and we don't want to, And so the other guy with me went up just before me. And he said, I opened his set. He went, cunt, cunt, cunt.
Technically, that's not a cuss. So
Anatomy, baby.
To say that. Yeah. Wow.
Honestly, if I only had 2 minutes, I'd probably be like, well, fuck this place. Let's just talk about how shitty their bathroom was or something.
Yeah, well, let's be honest now. These little old ladies with the blue hair, whatever the color, gray hair, they're not going to patronize comedy. You don't really care if you lose them as fans anyway. They're not going to be the kind of loyal fans that are going to support you. You're going for young people who are adults, but not ancient. And so fuck those old people. I'm one of those old people. If I were a woman, I'd have gray, blue hair or something like that. But fuck me and my whole generation. That's all I'm saying.
I did kind of double down. So even though I made the clean set, I ended up going way harder on some of them. Like I had a joke that said molested, and that pissed them off. So then I changed the version to kidnapping, and then I was like, no, fuck that. Use the word rape. Like just whatever. Like yeah. So it depends. I'm really good at reading a room, so I just kind of use whatever version's better for the moment. But
so like when you're working with people, do you go out of your way to find people who compliment what you do and are like-minded, or do you? Because I've seen people who, and it's always surprising to me, guys who work really clean, hanging out with guys who are just like trouble, bad boys. And I'm like, how do you even do shows together? Because one guy is, regardless, one guy is going to turn the audience off, whether it's the clean one or the dirty one. Do you go out of your way to find people who are like you or not?
No, just hoping they're funny. That's all. I don't care too much about what they're talking about. Especially because then we can get.
Okay, I'm never going to be on one of your shows then, because as soon as you say you hope they're funny, I'm done.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Well, this is the first time I don't know if you're funny or not, so you got a chance.
But I have a conscience. I have a conscience, and I won't work for someone who expects me to be funny. Because then I know it'll be disappointing him, and I'll never work again.
Let me just tell you, Scott. What you're seeing now, this is his attempt at being funny.
I like it, but yeah, we're not hiring him. That's just no.
No, I wouldn't hire him either. I don't know how he got on this fucking show, to be honest with you.
Diversity hire.
Yeah, that's right.
It was either me or Kamala.
So have you been to the great state of Pennsylvania? This is Ron Kane's home turf, and
comedy actually, just to stop and pee in somebody's yard. That was about it.
You peed in Ron Kane's yard.
I'm hoping so. Yeah, we were just driving.
That's how you get booked. That's how you get booked on one of his shows. He goes out to his yard and he sees who's been out there, and he goes like, "I like this comedian. He's got iron, in excess of iron. Yeah, good.
Yeah, if it smells like asparagus, you know you got a problem.
Yeah.
No, none of that shit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you now, immediately he'll pee right over top of the spot. So because he keeps that's his territory. But
I get that. I have a yard. Like,
are you I'm gonna say, are you a drinker or a drugger in any way?
So I quit drinking. I woke up naked in a field one night and decided I should probably change some shit. So if I drink, it's at a show and I have a 2-drink limit now. I don't need to be in the back of an Uber crying about how my dad didn't love me. He was a pretty decent guy, and that Uber driver did not deserve it.
You said 2 drinks. It's not the quantity. It's not the number of drinks. It's the how big are they? Okay. Yeah.
So honestly, I might drink a beer. The 2-drink rule is if people buy shots, because I feel bad turning them down. So now I'm just like, oh, I already had 2, But
yeah,
I'll still get hit if I got against it. But
I'm kind of chuckling inside because I'm thinking of all the AA people that heard you say, I quit drinking, and then talking about 2-drink minimums and stuff. Quit drinking means no drinking. No.
Yeah, none at all. Yeah, California sober again. I'm maybe like I'm Tennessee sober, maybe. Like I'll still drink it.
So you quit drinking on your own dime. You'll drink other people's drinks.
There you go. Yeah, I don't buy it at my house. So I do roadside assistance, so I can't actually be drunk like anytime.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so here's the question then. After a show, you have a choice between one of the 2 things. Would you rather someone walk up to you and say you're funny, or walk up to you and say, "Let me buy you a drink"? Those are your 2 choices.
Oh well, blowjob's a way better option, but I'd rather just tell me I'm funny. Like, yeah.
Let me just tell you, right? I don't know if this has ever happened to you, the blowjob thing, but it's not as rewarding as you would think. I've had that happen on a gig, and
was it just because it was itchy or what?
It was just like, first of all, it was on the street outside the gig by my car. And I was bringing equipment out, guitars and amps and stuff. And it was like constant fear of like, are there cops around there? There's still people who just saw me do a show. I don't want them seeing me get my dick sucked on the side of the street. It was just an uncomfortable thing. So
why'd you let Mikey do it?
Well, he was really hungry, and there was no Snickers available. And he's not himself when he's hungry. So
my wife, I think, only gets turned on outside, so I'm getting kind of used to the next to the car be after a show thing.
For me, it was like I'm just nervous the whole time. Tension convention. I don't want to get caught here. And the last thing because I had a girlfriend at the time. She was not there. She was home. And the last thing I would want is to get arrested and say, "Can you bail me out? I got arrested for getting a blowjob on the street."
Yeah, no, you're just like, I was diddling kids. Don't even this. It's a CSC. Don't just come get me. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I mean, I appreciate the aspiration, because if it hasn't happened yet, it sounds like a good thing. But it file that under. Be careful what you wish for, because sometimes they don't always go the way you think they're gonna go. Have you had your share of nightmare gigs? Have you had any like really, I don't know, terrible experiences?
Not really. The casino one was still, I think that's my worst show ever, walking that whole audience. Because especially the guy was like, well, you have to be up there for 20 minutes. And I walked the whole audience the first 6 minutes. So that last 14 was really fucking rough, just standing there talking to myself. But other than that, I've had ish nights, but I don't really have too many bad ones. Couple screaming matches about suicide jokes maybe, but no.
Suicide joke.
See,
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
what
That funny
when
subject.
you're stuck on the stage and it's just you. That's when it'd be good to be a ventriloquist. That way you could just like pull up and say, "So looks like it's just me and you, Mr. Bag." Oh, sure enough, I don't know what happened to all the people out there. I don't know either. See, so let's keep the bag in your pocket. Is what I'm saying.
I'm gonna have to, because I was looking around like I was about to use the stool for some dumb shit because I didn't know what to do. I did not like it up there, and I was fairly new. Like, I think I'd been doing comedy for like 5 months. Did not have a backup plan. Just panic.
Yeah, Sandler was talking about his early days, and he pretty honest about it, like wanting, just to give up so many times and just think, am I ever going to figure this shit out? And just almost go, I hate to make it sound like a total pussy thing, but going home and just crying in your pillow about how fucking embarrassing the night was and how difficult it is. It's a really brutal art form because if you don't, any one night, you could expose yourself to just the most self-degrading feelings. You just want to go home and think, am I worth anything? Because everybody in that room thought I was a total dick.
And then you wind up in the parking lot getting your knob polished by some stranger by the car.
Yeah. Well, on the plus side, that night, and in that particular club, everybody thought I was a fucking rock star in that place, and a lot of alcohol served, but
okay, all right, I got you.
Yeah. No, those people still, It always surprises me because I have no talent and no fucking skill. But it always surprises me when people who think I'm really good and tell me I'm really good. Now, first of all, I don't take compliments well, but I know I'm not really good. I've been fucking faking it for 50 years in show business, totally faking it, going in with no skill, no talent, and just hoping not to embarrass myself too badly. And
I think I'll do that though. Nobody's willing to. You're like, how do I go about doing this? And they're like, oh yeah, no, try this.
Yeah, I'm typing things. I don't want to type things.
I was about to commend you on that, Matt, because I don't know if I could like talk and type at the same time, two different things. I can.
Yeah.
You're good. See, you do have a talent. You just.
And I talk with my hands because I am a hand talker, so I must be typing with my dick, which means I'm really
another talent. That's another talent.
Another talent. That is the talent.
You should be on OnlyFans. You say to people, for $100, I will type out your name. For $200, I'll type out your name and wipe off the keyboard.
And no typos. Which means I have a really skinny dick or big keys. Right.
I'm going with the big keys. I'm just assuming.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for giving me some credit.
Or your penis is doing voice to text.
So I asked you about nightmare gigs. Have you had any that were just like? Do you have one in your mind that was the best gig ever?
Not really. I don't think I've ever had a good night. No, no such thing as happiness in comedy, baby. No, I did a gig probably 4 months ago, and the guy, I was a last minute add-on to fill in a spot, and the guy was like, I'm not sure how this is gonna go, because he goes, I know you're funnier than everybody else. And then I was all bashful because I also don't take compliments. And then I went up on stage and I fucking murdered for like 30 minutes. And then when I got off stage, it was like the energy just got sucked out of the room like a vacuum. And I got to watch 3 people just eat shit because everybody was looking for me. I was like, oh yeah. But I'll always remember penis butterflies from that one.
Very cool. Now nobody was there to tape it, right?
No, of course, no. Well, my wife was there, but we always end up getting stoned and forgetting. I'm really bad at taping shit.
With all the fucking selfies and self videos that people are taking, it always seems like when you want it to be taped, nobody's taping it. It's like so the best moments don't they're always on the cutting room floor or they don't even get to the cutting room floor because they've never been taken. But or when you're taking a shit in public, that ends up we got that on tape. It's fucking frustrating as hell.
Or like did our album. Well, we tried to do an album recording, and everything was really good during the sound test, and then once we started, something happened. So the whole hour and 20 minutes is just. I was like, cool. And it was fucking awesome too. I was like, damn it! There was all that time wasted.
I was opening for someone else. I was for a headliner, and I had my camera in the back because I record all my sets, and I did a check beforehand, and then the sound guy goes, "Okay, everything looks good." I said, "Great." So I do my material. When I come back, my camera is turned to the wall. Okay, so I got the sound, but the set, my performance, the video is of the wall. And I said, "What the hell happened?" He told me the headliner turned my camera.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
And
that's
so he
petty.
And when the headliner did it, because it was the headliner that did it, he didn't question it. Yeah.
What do you mean?
The headliner turned my camera to the wall.
Yeah. Oh, but when you say you didn't question it, I was like,
the sound guy didn't question the headliner. Because it was the headliner doing it. It was like, "What the fuck you doing?" It's like, "Oh no, he just turned it."
Wasn't an act of pettiness, or
I think so.
That's so weird, man.
He was recording his own set. He had his camera set up next to mine and was recording. So he was going to record his set anyway. So it's not like he thought I was going to, So it's
the only thing I was thinking there to give the guy an out was that it was an accidental thing, like he was setting up his camera and accidentally.
I locked my shit down.
Fuck.
I locked my shit down.
In show business, you will not find a shortage of petty-minded people, jealous, envious, and all that kind of stuff. I know it's a natural human reaction, but you know what? It would not have hurt him in any way. I'm just saying, I wasn't there, and I don't know the specifics. But there's no downside for him for you to have your set recorded. There's no.
And at that point, I was looking for a, because it's good to have like a really good set, for video. And I record everything, but there's always something that goes wrong, So I can say, "Oh, that was so perfect," but that joke didn't, or there was like 90 people, or whatever. There's something. I don't have like I don't have any perfect footage at all. I always have to like do something because there's some kind of glitch, or like somebody turned on a blender, something. And this was like a really, really. The set went so well. The audio is just beautiful. And actually, I've been really tempted to try to like stand up in front of a curtain and mouth the words along with the intro because it was so beautiful.
Yeah, it's really hard these days to book yourself without a really good quality video with good quality audio, and even if the material is good and whether the picture is just like off, you're like only halfway in the frame, or the audio is bad, that will kill you. They won't even listen to it. It'll be and because we talk so much about how you actually get gigs and get yourself steady work without having some kind of multimedia that is impressive enough, and just from the quality, you know what? You're probably better off with half-ass jokes and really good video and audio than great jokes and shitty audio and video. It's just, yeah. Yeah. So have you? I'm just curious. Like not bad places that are a little rougher. I mean, because I played when I was doing subbing with a country band in West Virginia, and ended up in this bar, and everybody could spot my New York accent from a mile away. And I was getting threatened, and people wanted to restart the Civil War, thinking that the South is going to win this time, and because it was I was outnumbered. A lot of rough places. Have you ever in your experiences so far played a place where it was just a rough room? I mean, just rough from either they spotted you as a northerner, or we don't like your beard or whatever. You'll see, you ain't from around here, boy.
My home is worse for me. Like everybody's kind of used to my bullshit around here, and they're like, "Oh yeah, give him a fucking microphone. That's just what we need." So I get zero. I have the hardest time booking or doing it like in downtown Muskegon. We did a show. They have a cruise ship, like a little mini cruise ship thing, holds like 150 people, and we did the show on there. And when I got on stage, there was an old lady who I thought was going to jump off the boat. She wanted nothing to do with me. She right away. I was like, "Swim, bitch! I don't care."
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Do you work to cultivate this image? Because I look at you and I think, again, I said this yesterday and I'm repeating it today, but I think danger. I think that from you. I just one look at you, I think this, and in a good way, a funny kind of dangerous way. Do you work to cultivate that, or is it just?
So I'm in a really weird spot, actually. So the pandemic, I had released this "Don't Be a Dick" logo. It was literally so it was a wiener that we turned into a chicken, and then just put the red circle around it. And we ended up selling like 300,000 stickers and T-shirts. Like it blew the fuck up. And then I got videotaped cussing a lady out at a show. So there was this big like I thought you were the "don't be a dick" guy. I was like, well, she was being a dick, and I was just talking to her.
Right.
But now, after about 2 years of fighting that, I like that logo. Now they know I'm a degenerate.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
We need to come up with a publicity stunt for you, like you get arrested on this program, like the cops come in and raid you and drag you out or put you in a straight
Maybe an exercise, even like a drill or something. And
that's what I mean.
Be walked out backwards on
exactly.
His
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I wish I would have worn
yeah. Good stuff. Now, Stephen Ortiz, when you went on this road trip with Steven, GD was suggesting that something I don't know, maybe not inappropriate might have happened. Was that a fun gig? Is that the first time you've done a road thing with him, by the way?
So I didn't do a whole. So we everywhere he stayed at my house for the week. We went to shows like in the neighboring towns and stuff. We didn't go too far.
Oh, okay.
He stayed during my album recording back in April. He stayed a night here then. And then we had worked together once before. So this was our third hangout. And then he stayed the whole week.
So you have an album out right now? Is it?
No, yeah. The sound was too bad. So now we have to redo the whole thing. And there was no fixed audio. Yeah, it was bad. Especially because 140 people showed up to that bitch. It was a great audience, a great, like, everything.
See, now I hear this story way too many times for me not to want to get out of retirement and get into production. How does this happen so often? And I'm not just signaling you out, but too many times all these comedians are doing shows. They prepare, they have a night, they're going to record stuff, and what happens? Either the cameraman or the camera crew sucked, video cards got corrupted, audio recordings didn't go well. It just happening way too often, and it's like, what the fuck? Is nobody caring enough to make sure that this shit goes right in the production?
I'm just glad it's happening to people other than me.
You know how hard it is to find a good videographer. That someone that's competent and can fucking follow through. It's hard.
I did know because I was in that business for a long time, but I hired people. But I maybe I was just spoiled by getting people at a film school who were really good. But and I could say in 30 years of managing production teams, had maybe 5 or 6 people that sucked. But I ended up firing them You can ask Davey Do about this. I'm pretty quick on the firing trigger. Like, you've been here an hour and a half. You haven't impressed me. Get the fuck back to the state you came from, and don't ever get out of this business. You suck, and you aren't meant for this business. I'm pretty brutal like that. So.
No, man, I'm gonna tell you. I used to do videography, and I was video recording a wedding. Okay, and it was in an old church without air conditioning. It was an old church. I had three cameras and 4 microphones, and I had microphones like on the stage, hidden inside the bouquet, so I can catch the audio of the bride and the groom and the minister. I had my camera by long shot that I could use just to edit everything together, and everything. I set everything up. I check my sound. Everything is great, and then the wedding starts. And people arrive at the church and they turn on all of these fans. And there are 3 or 4 fans on the altar where the wedding was. And so my audio, I put these mics in the flowers and stuff and hear this.
Yeah. We talk a lot about AI and how it sucks. Like it can say equine when it's supposed to say equine.
Yeah.
But one really good advancement in AI is cleaning up audio and just keeping the natural human voice. So you can, and I've seen like some examples that blew me away.
Back in the 90s when I was doing this, we had filters and stuff, and we tried, but it would change the voice because the frequency of the fan and the frequency of the voice. And I tried everything. I went to like 3 or 4 different experts back then, and there's nothing we could do with it.
The tools for that now are really incredible as to what they can do and clean up stuff like that. So maybe that's some hope for people. But the other part is, and we talk about this with a lot of people. I think Ben Frank the other day, we were talking about the editing process and how long that can take for some people. Jeez, man, maybe I'm spoiled again by having just really quality people to work with. But we would turn around 2-hour shows, 3-hour shows in 2 days, 3 days, fully edited, complete package ready to go. And now it seems like people are taking 6 months to a year to fucking edit something. Like, what the hell, man?
I can see a couple of months. I can see like 2 months maybe. But anything beyond that, unless they're really trying to fix shit. If it's a good, clean show, the editing should be fine. But if they're like, oh shit, well, we didn't put lights in that corner of the stage, and every time he walks over there, he disappears.
Yeah. So Scott, with you, what are your ambitions? Do you want to make a life in stand-up, or do you have ambitions of bigger television or any of that kind of stuff?
Stand up would be the main goal. Yeah, if I could just tell jokes and travel, that's but basically just not working for somebody else is that's the big one. And I made it. So
thank you for saying that, because so many people just, I don't know what they feel about saying that they can't tell the truth about that. I just don't want to fucking work for somebody else and make somebody else rich for whatever, working in a cubicle for somebody else to get rich and me just suffering a 9 to 5. That's always been my mindset with everything, and not enough people in show business will admit that. I don't want to be somebody else's fucking slave while they get rich.
COVID, I am taking a job because August before the shutdown, I quit my job and was going to do comedy full time. Like I'd saved some money and I was ready to go. And then COVID shut me down. And then I started towing, like working at a tow company. So I was working 90 hours a week trying to
I'm sorry. When you say tow company, is this the one where you're sucking people's feet and on camera?
No. I wish. I can't get hired at that one.
Oh, okay, because I thought you looked familiar. I was about to say, okay, so you're talking about the other kind of tow company.
Yeah, like a big truck and taking your car. Shit like
okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just got confused.
You dirty fuck, you.
It doesn't take much. Listen, it's morning. He's old like me. It's morning.
I get
we confuse most of the day when you get to be our age anyway. I don't want to pay because he's not quite my age yet.
Now, are you saying that you wouldn't do the other kind of tow work, or you just not qualified?
Too eager is what I'm told. too eager.
Too handsome.
Yeah, maybe that's yeah.
Yeah. No, because you know what? A lot of people get into stand-up as a stepping stone to something bigger, whether it's sketch comedy, whether it's television, or that stand-up is not really the end goal. And I think you have to really, really love stand-up to be a good stand-up comedian, to be one of those guys who's known for, a name for stand-up.
I don't want to do it. I was in a really, really dark spot in my life, and I ended up moving in with a friend in Duluth, and we went to an open mic one night, and they called my name. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then I did a minute and a half of the worst jokes you've ever heard, and ran off the stage before the host came back. But yeah, stand up wasn't the goal. But it did. It sounds cheesy as fuck, but stand up saved my life. Like I was in a really bad spot. I was like, holy shit, I kind of like that. And now it's the best high that I found. Like I love it.
Yeah, that's great stuff. I mean, it doesn't sound cheesy. It sounds to me.
It really does.
There are too many people who never find that. They go through life thinking, "What am I here for? What the fuck is life all about?" And never do any discovery like that, and really come to something that they find. So good for you, man. I like the fact that you found it before you were too old.
I know I got into comedy as a stepping stone to poverty.
Good ball. That's a good one to aim for.
I don't know. Is it working out for you? Because you see that you have
yet.
a house and stuff. If you have a house, you don't know what poverty is.
You have your own wacky waving inflatable flailing arm tube, man, dude. Don't talk shit about poverty. I have to put my wife hand out there and do that shit. Just
yeah. What does poverty mean for you, GD? Because you seem to be a long way. Listen, for me, I hate to admit
I didn't say I was succeeding at it. See,
okay.
I'm not a success. That's what I'm saying. I'm a failure at comedy, and obviously,
you're a failure because you can eat at night. Yeah,
jeez.
I have lost. Remember the movie The Perfect Storm?
Yeah.
That storm took my house. That storm literally came up where I was living at the time. Came up, the water came up and literally was in my house, in my living room. I had a basement. The basement was totally full, and in my living room we had 4 feet of water, fish swimming in my living room, and basically, and FEMA sent me a check for $235. Lost that house, lost the cars and everything. So
gotta feed the fish. That's what that was for.
Believe me, there were times when I thought I wish I could catch one of these fucking fish to eat.
Close the bedroom door. Get it together.
It's easy. There are easier ways of losing your home. I've had friends who just got divorced and lost their homes. They didn't have to go through that whole.
No, I was divorced I was like newly divorced at the time. Anyway, I was like 6 months into a divorce when that happened, and basically it was like everything at once. But not just the house, but 4 cars all underwater. I mean, when you have a car under salt water, you're not fixing that car. That engine is ceased. Forget about it. So basically, I became a guy for a very short time in my life, a box person. I'm living in a fucking box. It's fucking winter, and I'm living in a cardboard box, which is the lowest point. And that I think I do know about poverty from that. But you know what? That can make you determined to say, I'm better than this. I deserve more than a fucking box on the side of the street to sleep in at night. And you know what?
You have a box with a lid.
Well, the box had a lid. Did I say I was privileged? I guess white privilege. I know where you come from. You probably don't have the lids, but
be lucky you got what you got.
Yeah.
Here we got to share our boxes with 2 other people, 2 other comedians. We don't have
wow
single unit boxes.
So what is your schedule? Now, first of all, let me ask you about Zank.fun. I never heard of .fun. Is that's a new domain prefix, kind of, or relatively new?
Yeah, when I seen it, I was the first I had seen it too. So Zank.com, I believe, is a gay like dating site. Over in Japan, I guess Zank is they have a Zank remote, and then there's a gay dating site.
So Ron, you've been there?
None of
It
my
smell-
pictures.
It
I
smells
really,
dank in here.
but it's really hard to find Zank domains. Like I have to fight for it, and then I
No, but how did you find fun? How did you find .fun? Because when I saw that, I thought it was a misprint. Also, that's it. No, how did you find that?
GoDaddy, man. I was just scrolling through, and I seen that one. I was like, I guess that one will work, and it was like 99 cents or some shit for the year. So I was like, yep, I'll do that.
Oh yeah, that's the price incentive. I would if I were GoDaddy, I would have stopped at FU. I would just say .fu would be.
But but now it sounds like some European country.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm certain that Ron Kane, our president lingerie expert and just the chief aficionado of all things homoerotic, has been to Zank.com.
Our porn
He's
HR
probably
guy.
on Zank.com. He's one of their featured
I'm
guys.
thanking myself right now.
Thank off. Yeah. So dates coming up. Do you have dates coming up to promo things coming up?
So I guess Colorado. I have no idea what we're doing. It's a whole weekend. The 27th, 28th, and 29th. I'm in Denver and Colorado Springs.
Do you know who you're
then,
with? Do you know who's on that show?
Well, so the big reason that everybody's out there is there's a thing called the Crumbly Cup. Dave Crumbly throws it. It's kind of like a Kill Tony panel. It sounds like there's 36 comics doing a minute at a time or something, and then they've got like 4 or 5 shows in a roast battle along with it all the same weekend. But Jared Scott's going out there. Nicole Milnick from Michigan. Actually, there's a handful of Michigan comics going out there, which is going to be fun. But
you know what?
Yeah.
Because we talked earlier about like finding people that are good to work with. I get the impression, and I know Sam pretty well. Sam Talent, because you mentioned Colorado. He's from that area, from Colorado, and I think you would work good with him. He takes his friends on the road. He's a national headliner now. He's been. He's one of these guys who he needed to be told, "You're a fucking headliner. Stop acting like a fucking feature or an opener," and have some pride in himself. But I think if I could make that connection, put you and him together, and I don't mean in the way that you and Steven got together. I don't mean like that. He's married. He's happily married, and so he's not
married too. I mean, I can't mess with weird comedians. God,
I know. But I think you would work good with Sam because he's a big, burly ball of degenerate energy. So if I can make those connections, yeah, you know what? It's all about making those kind of connections, and I think people lead to people. This was a Mary Brunetti from the hair business when I was in the hair business. She used to say this all the time. People lead to people. You never know. Somebody that you meet might have somebody else that can be another connection to you that will really change the direction of your life. So if I can do anything with making introductions or with people I know, I would be happy to do that for you. You seem like I don't know. I from the first second we saw you on the video, I was like, get that guy. He seems interesting. Like I like your energy. There is something about your appearance, your energy that says this guy could be very good. It could be. I like the danger aspect. I don't think there's enough danger left in comedy. I think everybody's trying to play it safe. You know what I mean?
We have a lot of that around here, and that's somebody was like, after I made that white girl cry, a comedian came up after me, and was like, you can't say that kind of stuff, right? And I was like, well, I just did, and I'm doing it again tomorrow, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
And it wasn't even that bad. Now that I did it, though, somebody was like, Tosh has a joke that's really close, so I'm gonna pull the plug on it. But I basically just said that I would put my finger in her butt and give her best in show, and that made her very uncomfortable, and she like went in the back and cried. And one 15 minutes of suicide jokes right before that. I thought I was okay. I didn't know what was going to happen, but
suicide is generally a knee slapper, and it's definitely a kind of break the ice kind of topic.
Yeah, and most of the people that tell suicide jokes are the ones who didn't actually do it. They're telling about the time they tried to commit suicide, but they're not there. So obviously it has like a semi-happy ending.
There's nothing funnier than a failed suicide attempt. Like
right. It's not like the people who've actually succeeded at it are telling the jokes. That would be different.
Yeah. But like
experiences with it. One, a host tried doing a joke, but there was no punchline. So it ended up like some lady in the audience was like, "My brother killed himself," and blah blah blah. And then he didn't know what to say, so he just shut down. And then it was her for like 3 minutes yelling. And then he goes, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Zank." And I was like, "What the fuck? What am I supposed to do?" And then I go up there, and what do you do? So I was just like, I'm gonna start with 8 minutes of suicide material. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I would have said to her, it's obvious why he killed himself.
That actually did come out. Then I was like, hold on, we're real quick. Let me do an impression of your brother. Like that. Not good, but goddamn it, let's roll. Yeah.
The lifelike, not lifelike. The the likeness was incredible. Anyway, we do appreciate you getting up and coming on the program. Again, if there's anything we can do to help you with your career, just and do stop in periodically. Keep us in mind, and you're welcome back anytime. I want to cultivate. I want to cultivate your what I sense is danger.
Well,
because look what I got up there, up on top of me. I got Shy Boy who's just looking like, what am I on? Am I on a show? What am I doing?
Not quite awake yet.
His eyebrows went up. Did you see that? His eyebrows went up, ladies and gentlemen.
Chug that coffee. Have a good rest of your day. I'm gonna go sleep since I stayed up all night doing drugs.
All right, very cool. Good night.
Good night.
See you later. Bye. Scott saying, well, I'm going to play news really quick, and then we'll meet Sharif. Sharif don't like it. I hope I say his name right. You know what? These names are it's like a challenge for me. You know that. You know it's a challenge for me. News. You want to hear news? No, Ron doesn't want to hear news. GD sort of wants to hear news.
An increase in mosquito-borne diseases, including West Nile virus and Eastern equine encephalitis, has been reported in the U.S., raising concerns about where these illnesses are being detected.
Eastern equine encephalitis, known as EEE or triple E, is a rare but potentially deadly virus typically spread by mosquitoes in swampy areas such as red maple and white cedar swamps in Massachusetts. Experts believe that horses may act as a host for the virus, which is why equine is part of its name. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Cathay Pacific Airways in Hong Kong canceled 32 flights to and from various regional destinations a day after grounding its entire fleet of 48 Airbus A350s due to a failure in a Rolls-Royce engine part during a flight to Zurich.
The airline stated that inspections revealed 15 aircraft with affected engine components requiring replacement and 3 that had already been successfully repaired. However, the cancellations were deemed necessary as a precaution while the remaining aircraft are out of service until they can be repaired and cleared for operation. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
Russian military forces launched missile strikes in Poltava, east-central Ukraine on Tuesday, killing dozens and injuring hundreds, according to government officials.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reported receiving a preliminary report indicating that 2 ballistic missiles had struck the area. They targeted an educational institution and a nearby hospital, partially destroying one of the telecommunications institute's buildings, he said. Poltava Governor Philip Pronon confirmed that at least 49 people had died and 219 were injured in the strike. Benjamin Wright reporting.
The Justice Department unveiled charges against several senior members of Hamas's leadership.
These charges are related to their alleged roles in the kidnapping and murder of Americans during the terror group's October 7th attack on Israel. The criminal complaint, which was revealed in the Southern District of New York, names 6 members of Hamas.
Oh, I feel so good to bomb that guy. I feel like I got equine encephalitis. I don't know.
Swelling of your horse?
It could be. And fuck that disease in the horse it rode in on. How about that?
Boom, boom.
I just got Mariah Carey liked your post on Twitter or X, whatever it is. And I look, and Mariah Carey is saying hi to me. I look at it, it's got 178 followers. Something tells me this is not the real Mariah Carey. What do you think? 178 followers.
I don't know. It could be.
It's the post about Tim Pool and the Russians in the Tim Pool. I don't get these people, and first of all, I don't get how they get away with impersonating people for long on social media.
Maybe that is their real name. Maybe they just happen to have the same name.
They call the Win Mariah, but it's not like it's an unusual name.
And they also call losses Mariah as well, depending on what part of the country you're in.
Right. But no, it's not the real Mariah. Well, if it was the real Mariah Carey,
no, that's what I'm saying. She could be a real Mariah Carey, and that's why nobody knows her, because they see the name and they go like, "Oh, that's fake," and nobody wants to follow her. And she's actually a very nice person who just happens to be suffering with that name.
The one that I like the most is Liam Neeson, not Liam Neeson, the actor. Liam Neeson, and he's like a right-wing antagonist. Like he just puts out stuff to tweak the far-right guys, and they all come back. I'm boycotting your movies. It's like, you jackass. I'm not. I'm Liam Neeson, like the car, Nissan. Anyway, yeah, so there are a lot of these fucking fake people around. Time to meet our next guest. Now, I'm going to get his name wrong. And I shouldn't get his name wrong because he's a musician who's played with some of the biggest names ever in show business. Yes, that's true. Biggest names ever. Not like the Beatles. He's not Ringo Starr. We're not about to meet Ringo Starr. But he's a drummer, and he's also a comedian. Now, I know sometimes music can be a struggle, but as we kind of alluded to this morning, comedy is a almost certain road to nothing but poverty. And so why would you give up or transition from a really what seemed like a successful music career into a life of just a really hard life of trying to make people laugh and not getting any kind of
You're probably a serial killer. I mean, if you're like a road musician, that's a great opportunity to be a serial killer, because no one's going to suspect a drummer of having the talent to kill a person and get rid of the body.
All right, so you want to read his intro? Come on, you read his intro.
I love how Matt is just tiptoeing around like, yeah, don't pursue your dreams.
Well, why would you dream? I mean, I thought drumming would be the dream. I want to. I was the drummer for the band I'm with now 24 years ago, but I was kicked out of my dream. I wanted to be the drummer, and they made me a damn keyboard player, and then eventually the guitar player. I don't want to be the guitar player. I want to be the drummer. I don't. So I can't imagine anybody giving up drums on purpose, because drumming is the best. It's the best thing you could ever possibly do and get paid for, because first of all, it allows you to beat the fuck out of things. And that alone is a spiritually uplifting practice where you can just beat the fuck out of things. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah. It's like having one of those rooms where you can go in the room and beat the fuck out of things.
You want to read his intro, or should I? You want me to?
Didn't you just tell me to not even like 4 years ago that I can't read?
No, I was thinking like 4 minutes ago.
Oh, so why would you trust me to read? Okay, I'll try. What am I reading?
Sharif, I think it's Taya, right? You want me to?
Oh, that's what it is. You don't want to try to tackle that last name.
That's exactly what it was.
Okay, fine. I'll look. I don't care. I'll say
You don't
his
care
name
about
wrong
fucking
or
up his
right.
name?
No, because he'll correct me, and I'll be better for it.
But he'll hate you for the rest of his life. He'll say that guy who
He
fucked
hates
up
me
my
now.
name.
He hates me now.
Let me take the Zank out of there. By the way, Zank is still in the banners going across the bottom. Zank.fun. Go to Zank.fun, by the way, and let me put Sharif's banner in there while you're trying to figure out how to pronounce his name. Come on, you got 20 seconds. We're late. We're running late. We're behind.
Okay, fine. Okay. Sharif's jokes have been featured in The Onion and Hard Times News. He performs stand-up and improv all over the East Coast and currently hosts pop-up game shows produced by Mr. Beast. As a professional drummer, he's performed with Patti LaBelle, Lionel LaBelle, Harry Connick LaBelle Jr., and Derek LaBelle Trucks, Johnny Schofield, and OK Go. He's
Schofield?
performed at, yeah, that's what it says, John Schofield and OK Go. I don't know who OK Go is, but that's fine.
Wow.
All right. He's performed at many notable venues like the Lincoln Center, the back alley of the Lincoln Center, and the basement of the Lincoln Center.
Wow.
That's right.
Good morning, Sharif. He's already here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you've read enough.
Hello.
Good morning.
You got to work your way down up to the basement of the Lincoln Center. You start on the main stage, then you work your way down, I guess, to the basement eventually. You know.
Wow. Is that true?
It sucks being the drum. That's why it sucks being the drummer.
What do you mean? What do you mean? First of all, let me just be clear. The drummer gets more pussy than the bass player ever did, right?
And you play both positions, so you know.
That's probably true, but way less than like say the lead singer or guitar player or piano player.
All right.
Well, see, what it is, it's the stereotypes. The stereotypes is that basses do it deeper, drummers do it with rhythm, guitars take the lead, you know, and singers are divas.
Yeah. So you've made a successful career out of drumming, though, and then at some point you said, you know what, I just feel like telling jokes.
Yeah, I actually used to love it. I think you're right. Like, I think at some point it was the dream, and then I don't know, and I used to love it, and now I fucking hate it. I still do it to pay. It pays my. I need it to live. It pays my bills, but I try to only do it as much as I need to. You know, and I was okay, so I did this gig, a couple weeks ago. Here's a perfect example. I did this gig a couple weeks ago in Maryland somewhere, opening up for I'm a freelance drummer, so I just play a lot of different stuff. And so we were opening up for some like kind of famous country star. And yeah, I don't know. And so I'm back in the green, these types of gigs, and it was like it was that little stadium they have in Baltimore. I see maybe someone knows that state. I can't remember, but anyway, it was a big venue, and so with those types of gigs, you get these cool little like catered green rooms, and I fuck with the catered green rooms, and so we played our set. I go back to the green room, just going hog wild on like the snacks, and someone comes down and was like, "Hi, sir, are you supposed to be?" It was labeled. You can't get. There's so much security. You can't get in that room unless you're in a band. And someone who worked there was like, "Hi, are you with someone?" I'm like, "I'm in. I'm in the opening band." And they're like, "Oh, sorry, we just didn't see you." I'm like, How did you not see me?" And they were like, and I was like, okay, there was a jumbotron. Okay, I was in the fucking jumbotron, and my point is, even when they can see me, they don't see me. Even when they can see the drummer on the big fucking screen, they don't notice the drummer. You ever seen one of those old recordings of like Frank Sinatra and shit, and you can't see the band?
Yeah.
All those people don't give a shit about the band. They just want to see the singer.
That's a good point. The singer gets the majority of the attention, and they should. But
which stadium was it? Camden Yard, M&T Stadium,
something like that. I don't know. I'm
probably
in New York,
Camden Yard. If they had a jumbotron, I'm thinking Camden Yard.
You know what I realized though? I was the only musician in there fucking going like taking advantage of all that free food. I'm like, oh, free food. I should have brought some Tupperware. And I was like, oh, I'm not famous because my soul is not famous. like all the other musicians had better shit to do, and I'm like, rummaging through the free food, and I was like, maybe I should be a drummer. Maybe I should be.
See, that was the problem. The thing is, that food was not actually meant to be eaten. That food was just display to show them how we would treat our famous people. But you don't eat it. No, you don't eat it. This is just display.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
let me just because I hear what you're saying about in a lot of music ensembles, the drummer is just background, and although probably between the drummer and bass player, the most important part of what people feel in music, a lot of times get ignored. But in certain genres, hard rock being one of them, the drummer and the showmanship of the drummer are the appeal. People love to see, and especially now I'm seeing more people doing acrobatics and flips and cheerleading things with like baton twirls with drumsticks and throwing them up and catching them on time and all that stuff. The theatrics of drumming in certain genres makes it get a lot of attention, and that kind of stuff. The Tommy Lees of the world. I don't know if that's even, but
I knew him not from drums, but from a movie that he made. Right, I didn't even know he was a drummer until that.
But like all these Instagram reels and a lot of chicks are doing it, a lot of chick drummers are just like all over the place with these, twirling the sticks and like staying in time and stuff and throwing it. You got to have perfect timing for that. It's incredible to watch. So they have made a real attention grabbing. But you can't do that if you're working a country gig. Obviously, nobody's.
Yeah, if you're like a freelance musician, just playing with a lot of different shit. Like I used to do the Kennedy Center honors bands where we would back up all these famous singers, and like I would meet celebrities after these things, and they'd be like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I was just on fucking stage the whole night. You didn't? All right, you didn't see me. All right." But yeah, I think with bands like famous bands, yeah, people know like the musicians in the band, I guess. But what fucks me up is like they're. It, like you said, drums and bass play, they play the whole song. That's like they play the 100% of the song, and
Right.
like they're responsible for 100% of the song. And I feel like people who claim to love music, like when I was as a kid, when I was listening to music, I wanted to know everything that was going on. Like, yeah, I loved the singer, but like I was so curious about like how a song works and like what's the drummer doing, what's the bass player doing, what's the guitar player doing, and I just like can't relate. So it's like when people say they love music, like no, you just love the vocals or some shit. Do you really love music? And so that was like, okay, you know what? Maybe it was like a little bit of me like not feeling seen. So like I was like, okay, I was always funny, so I was like, let me study like this craft of comedy, and try to pursue that a little bit,
Yeah.
Now, being a musician, I mean, because is there like a shortcut with being on stage as a drummer, even though you're not noticed? That's a little bit different, because if you were like the lead singer, you'd be used to the attention, and then that skill set could transfer over to being comedy and right there behind the mic. But as the drummer and then in the background, did you find it more of a hindrance that now you're the center of attention, or was that what drove you to want to be pushed in front so that you're the center of attention?
I think there was a little bit of that. I mean, I loved being the drummer. I loved being behind the scenes. I was like, just because I get paid the same as everybody else in the band, except sometimes unless the singer's famous. But like I loved, and then I don't know. I think I like went to an open mic one night and did well, and was like, oh, this is the shit.
It is an addictive thing. You hear from people who in comedy all the time is that all it takes is one time where you actually do well in front of an audience and get like really good laughs, and then you're addicted to it. Yeah, it's part of you.
But I think a lot of professional musicians, instrumentalists, they're not funny because we all, I did it too. We all have to spend a fucking 10 years in a practice room all day long, solitude and shit. And you kind of and then you get to be a professional in some city or whatever, and then you're a little weird. But that's why singer-songwriters are often funny, because they're like, I don't know, they didn't do that. They were like out there like connecting with people, right? Their music is about connection and shit, and they have to engage with an audience, and often they're very charismatic. And I don't know, that's something I noticed. But Yeah, I've always been a fan of comedy, you know? And I started writing satire and started getting like little gigs writing jokes and shit. So I was like, oh, I can do this. Maybe this, and this was around the pandemic. So I had a lot of time in my hands. My job left, you know, like musicians couldn't perform. So I just started like on my own, just studying fucking joke writing and shit. And then when things started opening up, I started like just hitting mics and doing shows and taking improv classes and all that shit.
Wow, cool stuff. Now you seem like you're still. Maybe it's just your youthful appearance, but it seems like you're still young enough to make a dent in comedy. Where a lot of people are getting into comedy my age, and it's just like, you know what? Don't really think in bigger terms than the local club and local open mic nights. If you're getting into it in your 60s, 50s, or 60s, you're probably behind the eight ball.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm just keeping it real. I mean, basically.
No, you kept it real painful. Okay, you could have stopped at real, but you went beyond real and went to real painful.
No, I think you're lying. I think you're lying, and this is about Sharif, not about you. But let me just say that you have said many times that you didn't want that, you didn't want or expect to be a star in comedy. So why would that be painful?
I didn't say I didn't want. I do not expect to ever be famous because I started too late. I do not have enough time to develop to that.
So you agree with what I just said then? Let's move on.
That's why I said you went from real to real painful.
Okay.
Yes. I didn't say you lied. I didn't say you misled. I said you hurt me. Okay.
All right. Well, then I feel good. Because, as I mentioned, I am a bit of a sadist in that regard, especially when it comes to you. If I
I'm sorry. So, Sharif, how many years do you think you have left on this planet? No,
you?
No, you. How many years do you think you have left? No.
I have at least one more year in me.
All right, good for you.
Hey, when you were talking about flooding, dude, my place used to flood like crazy in Brooklyn, dude. When you're talking about fish, I would see dead rats come out, like rats would come out of the toilet and be fucking floating around in my basement, dude.
Wow, that's a scary thought. Just the fact that they came out of the toilet, because I would never sit on that toilet again.
Yeah, no, it was hard.
I'm just wondering, how did those rats get in the toilet? And what have you been eating?
Yeah, we would have rats. They were like rats. We would hear rats in the walls and shit. But then when it flooded, they would somehow come through the plumbing and fucking float around. And like, my bedroom would be down in there in the basement and like dead. It was fucked up. I remember one time I was at a gig and my girlfriend was at the time was staying with me, and she was at my place. And she calls me from at the gig. I finished up the gig. She calls me. She's like, Sharif, I was in bed and a rat jumped in the bed and crawled in the bed. And I was like, she was like, please come help. And I was like, yo, I'll be there. I'm just finished. I'll be there as soon as you get rid of that rat. Cause that sounds scary. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'll be there after he's done. I'm not watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. She's cheating on me with a rat anyway, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. Are you originally from? I mean, where are you from?
I'm from Roanoke, Virginia.
Roanoke, Virginia. I know it well. I used to play in Clifton Forge. Are you familiar with Clifton Forge?
No, where's that?
It's north of Roanoke. Up. What's the town right in West Virginia that's over? Is it Charlottesville? I don't know.
There's Charlottesville.
Yeah,
Virginia.
yeah. It's up there. I played in a country band in the 80s. It was a very weird experience, but yeah. So you know, I had family in Roanoke, Smith Mountain Lake, that area. So
yeah,
yeah, very cool. So now, growing up in Roanoke, I'm thinking you were well versed in country music, right? That's part of the culture down there.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't really listen to much of it, but I mean, you know what's funny, man? I was reminded of this like the other day at that gig. Is like, dude, country musicians are actually really good at their instruments, dude.
They are.
Like,
yeah.
Like the guitar player, like all those guys, they're like really proficient, really professional at their instruments, man. I don't know, man, it's cool.
There are a lot of them. Last night I saw on social media somebody posted the Rusty Spurs band, it sounds like cliche, but I know the guitar player from that band. The drummer, a drummer I worked with, posted this picture. They were playing this amphitheater, and I was like, I know Steve, the guitar player in that. He is one of the best virtuosos virtuosos I've ever met, and I've known him for basically all his life. And I was just like, that's so weird that somebody with that much talent, I guess they go to where the money is, because country music is not a place you would expect to find somebody who is just like completely a virtuoso at their craft, and because it's a simplified. I sound like Buddy Rich here. Like I'm not putting down country music. I just think it's very simple, and you don't have to be a virtuoso to play it. So when you see virtuosos playing it, it makes you kind of scratch your head and say, why? What? And it has to be about the money.
Yeah, I think I've known quite a few country musicians, and true, while the pop music version is not very palatable to me, a lot of times I've done like the jam sections when they just sit around and just fucking around. That's when being a virtuoso really pays off, when they're not just putting out like pop music.
Right.
That's really impressive. And then you have to have your chops, no matter what the instrument you're playing, because there's just a lot of jam sessions, and that's when you have to be good.
Right. So Sharif, now we're in comedy. Who were the people who you followed in comedy before you started getting into it? Who inspired you as far as?
Well, it's funny, man. Like before I ever thought I would do comedy, I was, you know how when you get a new car, they give you like 6 months of free XM radio and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was driving always driving in New York, and I got a new car, and I remember, I would get road rage, people, because it's tough driving in New York, and then I would just like, man, I just started turning on XM, the comedy station XM radio, and it chilled me out with the road rage, and that's how I got into comedy. And then I was in love with like a lot of these one-liner comics, and so much so that I would transcribe their jokes with like not like even knowing that I would try to like write my own jokes, but I would write down their jokes just to like feel like, this sounds weird, but like closer to like the joke. And I was just doing that for years, and then just started writing my own joke.
Oh, we just lost him.
Yep, joke's on us.
That was a one line. We one-lined him right out.
Right.
Would you get a phone call?
You're talking about right. You when you left off when Sharif left off of discussing how he was writing down the jokes from other comics from the radio. Now he did not say whether or not he was writing them down while he was driving or if he pulled over to write them down. Please continue, Sharif.
Yeah. Like which comics? Like I don't know. Like all the like Anthony Jeselnik and like, but like there I kind of, in music, what they tell you to do, and I believe this to be true, is like study like the legends and transcribe their shit and try to like emulate them until you find your own voice.
Yeah.
And so I took that route, and I just would transcribe my favorite comedians and like analyze, like a lot of, even some of my jokes now are still kind of like structurally, like the skeleton of them was like based on a joke I transcribed, but you would never know because I just like took the skeleton and filled all my own shit in there.
Again, a moment of honesty here, because a lot of comedians don't admit what you just admitted, but it's because it feels almost like it's taboo to kind of. But when comics start out, they are all imitating their heroes, the people that inspired them in some way, and very few comedians will actually admit that. Stanhope talks about when he first started, and I know GD gets a little upset when I talk about Stanhope because he's got this envy thing about him. He just hates him.
I don't even know who Stanhope is.
I know. He was doing basically a one-off impression of Andrew Dice Clay. You would never think that if you saw Doug Stanhope's act today, that when he started out, this is his words, that he was doing Andrew Dice Clay. But in his mind, he was doing that, whether it came off that way. But I think it's important to recognize, whoop, we lost him again. Maybe his phone's dying.
See, now I'm not the only one who doesn't like Doug Stanhope.
Yeah, no, I said Stanhope and he just ran away. But it's just, I think that's where you have to start out, is before you find your own voice, you have to experiment with the kind of comedy that attracted you to comedy in the first place. What'd you do? Ron, you just did that, didn't you? You did.
No, that was made by accident. I was trying to isolate the echo.
You were trying to get rid of me.
No, I said the echo.
Oh, I could do that. Anyway, so yes, that's a really valid and honest point, and we don't get a lot of valid and honest points when we're talking about
took
this.
everything I ever learned in music that like helped, and I just applied it exactly to comedy, and like I don't know, it seems to like help. It seems to work out. It's the same fucking process, of like it's just learning a craft. It's like technique and fucking reps, and it's a lot of it's the same shit.
Yeah. So now, who is that echoing? That's not Sharif echoing.
It is Sharif's echoing.
I don't think it is because he is. Whoa, he's muted, right?
I just muted it.
Okay, so it is him. All right.
Don't question me in front of the guest.
I am questioning you in front of everybody, in front of the entire world. Right now, on your calendar, do you have more drumming gigs or more comedy gigs?
I've been doing way more. I literally played just as many gigs just to like pay my expenses, and then the rest I do comedy every other night. A lot of times in New York City, I'm playing a drum gig and then going straight to a stand-up thing or an improv. I do a lot of improv. I don't know why, but it's fucking yeah. I do definitely do more comedy.
Are you planning? First of all, do you have enough material? But to do like a special and an album, and
I'm working on an hour, but I have about 30 minutes that I'm confident in right now. But man, it took a long time to get to that 30 minutes, like what I feel like is like a bulletproof 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm just always like chipping away.
Okay. Now, I have a link that says, I don't know how I got magnettheater.com, but this was the best link that had the best bio that I could find for you. Is there another website I should be sending people to find out more about you and your schedule and where to see you?
I have the Instagram that's like it's Instagram Sharif _Taher _haha. Everyone will probably remember that. Easy to remember. But yeah, I mean, I think if people just Google Sharif Taher comedy or Sharif Taher drums, either way, like something will lead them in the right direction. I think I have the same bio. I write. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the UCB, like Upright Citizens Brigade, or any of that shit. I write for their sketch teams, their sketch shows, and and that's like that takes up a lot of time.
I'm shocked that they're still around because I was a producer for them in 1990. I want to say 1996 when they first came on. I'm surprised they're still around. I had not heard that name in a very long time.
They just reopened. They're doing they're actually next weekend. They're doing their grand reopening, and it's like. It's great. Like I have one of my sketches in it. I'm gonna be in it like for the sketch night. But they have like Chris Gethard shows coming back. All the old like popular shows. Whiplash, like Shalewa Sharp is hosting Whiplash, where they have a lot of like famous like stand-ups like drop in, and what else? This kind of like old school popular like improv show called Ass Cat, where like the original like Upright Citizens Brigade like sketch TV show came from. So it's like they're kind of bringing back the hits.
Wow, very cool. Good. Well, you know what? It's good that comedy is still around in the fact that these things that have been staples. Well, I don't know if they were staples, but like what I was talking about, like the Second City people, those kind of troops, National Lampoon people, where comedy actually it's like a comedy training ground, and so many of my generation's heroes came out of that and became the stand-up legends of Robert Klein, George Collins, those people, John Belushi's, those people who came out of it. Even Adam Sandler came out of that in New York City. So good that that's still going on.
There was like Second City, Chicago, right? UCB. Yeah, all those places are like finally reopening, and like getting, I think we're a few years away to like another like comedy boom because it really took a hit. I mean, I think we're still seeing the effects of the pandemic and like just things shutting down. But I think in a few years, I think there's going to be another comedy boom because of these people that were on the ground floor of these reopenings, like New York, like Second City moved to New York recently, UCB opening, and so we'll see.
The problem with a comedy boom is you have to kill off all the rats that
are coming up out of your toilet.
Yeah. There's so many people who want to be in comedy who really. This sounds judgmental. I'm not going to say it, but there's a lack of people who have actually put in the time to really learn the craft and do it well, but still expect to do it. And I think it's just like oversaturated with. I don't want to call them competition because it's not competition. It's just muddying the waters. It's making things really difficult to stand out.
Yeah. Let's just come out and say it, man. There are a lot of people putting on crappy shows and passing it off as comedy, and that could kill the comedy market. That could kill it.
You're right. That's a better way of saying what I was trying to dance around without hurting people's feelings or sounding like I'm pointing fingers at certain people. I'm not. There's just too many people who want to do it for the number of stages and opportunities, and some of those people are not really good, and it turns off people, consumers. Too many people I know say, "Why should I go to a comedy club? I'm funnier than that guy." Why? What? Because you made your family laugh? Yeah. Well, no, that's not what it is. But then you go there and you drag them to a comedy club and they see somebody who's not funny, and then they come away reinforcing that idea that why should I pay to fucking go to a comedy club when these people are not any funnier than me?
I know a lot of people like that like their first comedy show was just to like go and see their friend who was like friend of the producer, like who were like just not funny. Like a lot of people are getting shows or just because they're rubbing shoulders with like producers that aren't funny, at least in New York, that are like running a mic or running a show, and like because they're good at talking to a venue. And then there's this like groups of people that will like regularly host and produce comedy shows that aren't funny, and then their friends come and see them and they're like, this is what stand-up comedy is. I don't like stand-up comedy. So it keeps people from like going to consume live comedy again,
Have you gotten out to Long Island? I know Brooklyn. Have you done Governors or the Brokerage or Sticks and Stones?
Not yet. I would love to. I've been. That's funny you asked because I was like I was like looking into like prying into like there's this show producer. She books the West Side Comedy Club. Felicia Madison, who sometimes books out in Long Island, and I've been trying to because I have a car and like. I've played drums a million times in Long Island, but I've never done comedy in Long Island.
All right. Well, Andrea, if you're listening, we're on Gov Network right now. We're about to say goodbye to Gov Network. Andrea, if you're listening, get in touch with Sharif.